In 1979, the first ever puzzle game was released, Hyankyo Alien, a Japanese video game produced by the University of Tokyo for the PC 8001. Then in May 1980, it was released to the public as an arcade game, and has been ported ever since, even very recently in 2017 when it was ported to PC. The gameplay for this is odd. The player has to trap and then destroy the aliens in these bubbles, like a cross between Dig Dug and Bomberman. Honestly, I wouldn't play it very much, maybe for an hour before getting bored and wanting to move on. It's pretty linear. But all games were at this point. Space Invaders, Asteroid, Pac-Man, these were all extremely linear games and they're known as classics. So why wasn't this? Well, puzzle games have never been the most popular franchise of video games, and it wasn't until 1984 that a puzzle game was released that took the world by storm. On June 6, 1984, Alexei Leonidovich Pajitnov released Tetris. I would be absolutely amazed if there was a single person watching this video who has not heard of Tetris or the Tetris game series. This game is rooted in the original video game releases when video games started becoming more popular. I wouldn't necessarily say that this release developed the puzzle genre like the Super Mario Bros. Release developed the platformer genre, but Tetris is still an incredibly popular game series that is still relevant to this day, and that's special as not many video games can say that they've been around for 35 years. I always try to add a personal aspect to these videos. Tetris just wasn't a game I grew up playing, and I've only ever played it a handful of times, and the only somewhat special thing I can say about this game is that I used to play Tetris A-Theme on the piano a few years ago. So everyone in Year 9 Music, I know I bored the shit out of you with that song. I know, I'm sorry. However, there was a puzzle game I grew up playing quite a bit, and it's super obscure, and I really wouldn't be surprised if only 10% of the people watching this video have ever heard of this game. Quirk for the Game Boy Color. This was an action puzzle game released in November 1989 for the Game Boy Color in Japan. I don't think I've ever beaten this game actually, because this game was really tough, and I was quite young when I played this most, so I was a dumb kid playing a puzzle game. That's not a good combo. I'll be honest, rewatching some of the footage for this game has brought back a ton of nostalgia for this game, because man, no matter how many times I failed or gave up, I love this game, and this is probably the reason I love puzzle games. They are definitely not my favourite genre, but that isn't to say I don't like them, because this game was great. That's a 2D release from a quarter of a lifetime ago though. Unless climate change carries on, then it'll be 2/3 of a lifetime, but no, like seriously, please try and help prevent climate change, thank you very much. A more modern puzzle game is Antichamber. This was released back in 2013 on Steam. This game is weird, but it's honestly so much fun because it's another game that just messes with the player so much. I won't go too in depth with this game because it's another indie game that everyone watching should pick up because it's an experience that no other game really has. It throws the player in the deep end and teaches them nothing, but I can't even consider this bad game design in this case because the gratification the player gets when they figure out something is even more than what other puzzle games give. Pick up this game and honestly you'll have a blast. Speaking of Steam, Valve released a brand new game series in 2007. Unbeknownst to them, that this would be one of the most successful games of all time and arguably their best IP/video game series of all time. Frankly, I don't know where to start the praise for this game, because I know I could probably ramble on about this game for hours. If you're ever in a stream of mine and want me to go on a tangent, ask me my opinion of the Portal games and you will open up a whole new can of worms. Twitch.tv/Sindraco. If you are unable to tell, I like these games. Not only are they a super fun single player experience, but they're also a great co-op experience with the Portal 2 co-op mode being the most fun I've ever had in a co-op game ever since I played split screen Star Wars Battlefront 2 with my brother when I was very young. Pinpointing an exact reason for my love of these games is practically impossible considering that there is just so much I could talk about. Portal's gameplay is pretty unique. You have a gun that shoots portals that the player can go through, which I believe was the first time this gameplay mechanic had a full game around. At this point the game's been around for so long that I think it's hard to call this game unique, but at the point of Portal's initial release, I think it is fair to say that it was indeed unique. Then you get other add-ons to the game with the companions cubes, lasers, turrets, and then in Portal 2 you get the gels, the laser beams and the bridges. All of these gameplay mechanics are introduced in their own sort of test environments before at the end of the game when the player has to think about all the different mechanics coming together. Gameplay does not make a game great. Sure, it is the main reason why games can be memorable, enjoyable, or even the opposite to that, but a good game with great gameplay and nothing else lacks substance, especially a single player story game. This is where Portal 1 and 2's excellent story mode comes in to make this game even better. Like the Celeste video, link in the description, I don't want to talk about the story in this game because if you haven't played it already, then you should go and pick up both games and play through all of it. What I will say about it is that it is a great story mode. It's not a story big enough to be considered the main reason I play this game, as it's quite minimal, and really the reason I keep going from level to level in this game as fast as I can is because of the gameplay, and how I want to keep experiencing new things in the game. But I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing, because the game doesn't need a flashy story to be perfect, it just needs a story that's good enough for it. However, these games' story modes have something that I think a lot of people would agree with, and that is it may have the two best antagonists from any video game of all time. GLaDOS and Wheatley are probably one of my favourite things about these games. The amazing writing combined with the exceptional performances from Ellen McLain and Stephen Merchant make these some of the best characters in a video game for me. GLaDOS' witty dialogue combined with her psychopathic tendencies make her an extremely unhinged character, a character the player fears because they don't know what she might do next. And while I'm talking about GLaDOS, I have to mention Still Alive and Want You Gone, because I don't think anyone expected something like that at the end of the Portal games if they're going in blind. It's out of sync, by the way. Sorry about that. I can't stress how much I think these are some of the best songs in a video game soundtrack. They are absolutely incredible. Also, as a little tangent, I've been talking about so many games that have incredible music. Then the antagonists just get elevated with the second Portal game with Wheatley, who is my personal favourite antagonist for a video game ever. Stephen Merchant is probably the best casting for this character. He is able to put on such a great performance and really sells the character. As for Wheatley himself, his dialogue has to be some of the funniest, which is quite rare for an antagonist that is this unhinged. Even more so than GLaDOS, considering he is an incredibly dim-witted character. Therefore, the player really has no clue what he's going to do next. Then there is the co-op mode. I love this, and it's probably my favourite part in these games because Valve, you really knocked it out of the park with this. I cannot recommend getting Portal 2 with a friend and playing through the entirety of co-op mode more. The player goes through such a great difficulty curve, so by the end of the co-op adventure the player feels so accomplished for completing the testing areas. The best way I can show this is the secret levels, which are so tough. There are 9 different chambers in this additional section, and when I played through this with my friend, I would say that it probably took about 6 to 7 hours for all of the additional levels, which is a huge amount of time. I did actually recently play through the whole campaign for the first time with a friend a few months ago. We actually had to do it twice, there were some technical difficulties and we had to redo it all and it sucked, but whatever. And it's probably the best gaming experiences I've ever had. The co-op aspect of this game is so well integrated into Portal that it feels like the game was solely created for co-op mode anyway, which is absolutely incredible for a primarily single player game. Also, in the hours I played the co-op mode with my friend, there was not a single time that either of us got frustrated or annoyed at the puzzle, which honestly feels so rare for a puzzle game. Kudos to Valve. They took the idea of a puzzle game and not only fleshed it out to be a competent enough game, but a game good enough to be hailed as one of the greatest puzzle games of all time. I am sure that in years to come I will continue to play this game because it is just that much fun. I've been playing Valve games for ages. Like many, TF2 was my first ever PC game and I recently started to pick up Dota 2. And I would be lying if I didn't say that Portal 2 isn't my favourite Valve game. I will absolutely love TF2. But single player / co-op always tends to be my thing if it's done well. Portal 2 is a timeless classic. Thanks for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed, remember to hit that like button, subscribe and comment because that is the only way to help promote my videos thanks to YouTube's amazing algorithm. I also have 2 other videos similar to this, so please go and check those out. Links to both of them in the description. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter as well, link down below. See you all next time.